Welcome to your functional circuit class. This is the new name I'm giving the workouts that I've been posting a bunch of in the last few months, where you get a few exercises at a time. You do them for 30 seconds each, back to back. You then rest for 30 seconds and repeat. Hopefully giving it a name makes it a little easier to identify and find on my YouTube channel. In the title of today's class, you'll notice the numbers 4 times 3. That means you get 4 exercises in each circuit and you have 3 circuits total. Today's class is body weight only, so no equipment is required, and it is also low impact, so there is no jumping, making it a quiet option if downstairs neighbors are a factor. So we have just under 30 minutes of circuit work. That includes the 3 circuits and rest time in between them. We'll start with a nice thorough warm-up, and then we will also finish with a guided cool down so that this really is a complete workout class. Our warm-up for this class isn't quite as long as the warm-ups I have you do preparing yourself for high-intensity interval training, for example. And because there is no jumping, there'll be no jumping in the warm-up. We do still want to bring the heart rate gradually up, but there won't be as much of a focus on cardio, really going to dial in on mobility. For the functional circuits, like I said, we have 3 of them today. In each circuit, I'm going to give you 4 exercises. You do the exercises back to back for 30 seconds apiece. You then rest for 30 seconds before repeating. So in other words, that's 2 minutes of work, 30 seconds of rest. In the first and the last circuit, we have some unilateral exercises. So we will complete 4 sets of the circuit, alternating right, left, right, left. The second circuit, no unilateral work, so we will just go through that one 3 times. In between each circuit, you get about a minute of recovery while I show you a preview of the upcoming exercises. And then when you've finished all of that work, I will bring you through a quick guided cool down. And if you absolutely love this class and you can't wait to get another one, then head on over to Patreon. If you become a member, there is one waiting for you, ready to go at all 3 membership levels. Okay, with all that yapping out of the way, let's get to our warm-up. We're going to start by just linking breath with some movement and kind of mobilizing through the thoracic spine here. So standing, comfortable stance, feet about shoulders distance apart. I want you to take your right arm and I want you to reach it up. Left arm can stay at your side. We're going to side bend on an inhale. So deep in breath, expanding through the right side of your body. And then we're going to rotate on an exhale. You're going to spiral your chest towards the floor. Inhale, opening back up into that side bend. And then exhale, come back up to stand, same side. Inhale, side bend. Exhale, ribs move in and down, gently spiral to the floor. Oh, that feels good. Inhale, come back into your side bend. Exhale, use the obliques to bring yourself back upright. One more time. Inhale over. Exhale, rotate. Inhale, open. Exhale, upright. Let's switch sides. Right arm by your side, left arm. Inhale, side bend. Really expand through the rib cage, opening through this side body. Exhale, rotate. Spiral your chest slightly towards the floor. Inhale, back into the side bend. Exhale, use your obliques to bring yourself upright. Twice more. Inhale, over. Make sure you're not sinking into your low back on this, all right? So your abdominal walls engage. Exhale, twist. Inhale, open. Exhale, come back up. One more time. Inhale, over. Exhale, twist. Inhale into the side bend. Exhale, come up to stand. All right, now hands on your shoulders, and we're just going to start tracing some nice big circles. Doesn't matter the direction because we will switch it. Now, as you trace these circles, we don't want to lose connection to our rib cage. So we're not flaring open through the ribs. There's that heaviness to them. They move gently in and down on the exhales. All right, switch direction of these circles. So we're going to kind of come into some dynamic movement. I guess you could think of this as our low impact cardio section. We're going to start slow the first time through and then we'll speed it up. All right, we're going to do a reach and a march. So arms overhead and then pull it in, other side. Arms up, drive the knee up. So we're just marching side to side. Slowly to start because we haven't really focused in on hip mobility yet. So slow here. Second time through, it'll be quicker. Our next movement coming up, it's going to be a shallow squat to a side bend reach. So we already kind of focus on that opening through the side body. We'll just make it a little more dynamic here in 3, in 2, and 1. So you're going to squat down, it's shallow, and then side bend reach. Squat it down, other side. Down. Again, slow. We'll add in a little quickness to it next time just so we can bring the heart rate up a little bit. But for now, we're still warming up the body. One more each side. And now I just want you to separate your feet nice and wide. We're going to do a side lunge and reach opposite hand to opposite foot. So getting a nice opening through that groin area and the backs of the legs. Opposite hand, reach, reach, shifting your weight side to side. Don't worry if your hand is actually touching the foot. Maybe you're just reaching towards the shin. You want to work within your range of motion. All right, so we've gone through the 3 movements. We're going to go through them one more time, this time picking up the pace. We'll start with that march in 2 and 1. All right, let's go. Reach and pull, pull. So we don't have weights here, but I want you to picture there's weight to the air. So you're not just lowering the arms, you're pulling them. Core is engaged as you drive the knee up. Maybe you pick up the pace a little bit. We're going to come into that shallow squat to our side bend reach in 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Down, reach. Again, a little speed to it. There's no jumping in this workout, so I'm not going to have you jump here, but I still want you to build up that warmth. One more to go. We'll have that wide stance. It'll be that side lunge. In 4, 3, 2, 1. Feet are wide. Reach, reach. Now we're getting low through the torso, but it's a hinge. We're not rounding forward. So I want you to stay open across your chest, broadness across the collarbones. We're going to do a little bit more mobility. We're going to do standing hip circles up next. Give me 4, 3, 2, last time. All right, standing up. We're going to shift weight into your right leg. We're going to trace big circles, opening on the left side, and then reverse it, close it. You can use your arms to help you balance. Close, 2 more. And if you need to hold on to a chair or something, that's an option too. Last time. And just switch direction. Big opening, or switch sides, I should say. Close it. Open it up. It's like you're stepping over something. 2 more. Last time. Okay, and then we're just going to come into a hip hinge to a squat. So I want you to slide the hips back, hinge forward, bend the knees, drop into your squat, drive through the feet, stand. We hinge, we bend, we stand. So the reason we are doing these movements is very purposeful. You're going to see this all throughout the actual workout. There'll be lots of hip hinging, and we'll focus on some external rotation through the hip joint. Last time, you're going to hold the low squat now. I'm just going to turn to face you. I want you to bring your feet a little wider than they are. And from here, we're going to lift the toes. You're going to pivot on the heels, external, point them forward, out and in. But this movement does not originate with your feet. It originates in the hip joint. So the whole leg out and forward. Give me 4 more. 3, 2. Next time your feet point forward, hold. I'm just turning to the side. Bring your hands down to the mat. Walk your hands out into a plank position. Your right foot steps to the outside of the right hand. Right arm to the ceiling. Right hand down. Step back to plank, other side. Left foot, left hand, back to plank. Right side, right arm, down, plank. Left foot, left hand, hand down, plank. One more time each side. Last time. Step back to your plank, hold. Hips up to downward facing dog. I want you to just pedal out the heels. Then from here, you're gonna walk your hands in towards your feet. You're gonna roll up slowly to standing. Woo. All right, and let's get to our functional circuits. Circuit 1 is lower body focus. Exercise 1, a bit of a stability and balance challenge, standing on one leg. It's going to be an opening of the pelvis. We're going to come back to center, and then it is a hip hinge back and forwards. From there, we go right into an offset squat pulse to a sumo squat pulse. We are kind of hinging open and close. Now, I'm going to do it with my non-target heel lifted, so I'm just planting the ball of the foot down. Exercise 3, a little bit of a combo. It's going to be a back lunge to a low squat, a back lunge, and then we stand all the way up and knee drive. I want you to get low in the lunge, okay? So if possible, I want your back knee to tap the floor. Final exercise is another little combo. We start in our split lunge position. It's a pulse to a deadlift hinge. Okay, 30 seconds each, so that's 2 minutes of work, 30 seconds of rest. We're gonna go through it 4 times. We're gonna alternate. We'll focus on the right leg, then the left, right, and then the left. All right, leg is the focus. You're gonna mirror me. Shift weight into that right leg, hips are square, and we're gonna lift the left knee up. I'm gonna do it with my hands in front of me. Keeping that right leg strong and the femur bone pointing forward, open up, close it in, slide the hips back, coming into your little hinge. So you're really grounding down through the foot. That big toe is playing a big role here. You're not collapsing into the arch, so there's a little lift through that mid-arch. Now, these can be admittedly hard to find that stability in sneakers, so I might recommend you do this workout barefoot. Okay, now it's that pulse narrow. You're gonna hinge open into your sumo squat, pulse there. I'm keeping my left heel lifted so that weight is staying in that front target right foot. Pulse it narrow, hinge open. So it's that external rotation. We're just building off of what we did in the first move. Make sure your knees are tracking in line with the middle toes, especially when you pitch open. Not especially, but equally as important. Okay, right foot stays where it is. Left knee goes back, kneeling lunge. Low squat, kneel, come to stand. Low squat, knee taps, stand. Now when you stand, think of squeezing into your right side seat. We have one more exercise to get through. Okay, come into that split lunge position. So it's a pulse. And then grounding down through your right leg, it's that deadlift hinge. You want to keep your hips square to the floor. So think about pulling that left hip down in line with the right. You also don't want to lock out through your right knee when you go into that hinge. If balance is an issue on this one, you can hold on to something, or you can keep your back foot on the ground and just hinge. And rest. Okay, 30 seconds to shake it out. Do that same thing, other side. All right, so let's start shifting our weight into our left leg. Lift the right knee up. You're mirroring me. I like hands in front of me for balance. We open up. Woo! Bring it closed. Hip hinge. Hips slide back. Torso hinges forward. Bring it up. So very normal to notice differences between your sides. I am having a lot harder time balancing on this side. Go slow. This one's about control and stability. I don't care how many reps you get in. Okay, pulse narrow, hinge open into that sumo squat. Your left foot is staying planted. The right heel is staying lifted. Really grounding down through that left foot. External rotation through the hips. This opening is coming from your hip joint. Get ready to keep your left foot planted for that lunge. All right, left foot stays planted. Right knee comes to the ground. You're in a low squat. Kneeling lunge, stand it up. Squeeze into the seat, core and tight. If you're feeling good, you can add in a little speed here, but never at the sacrifice of proper form. And I don't want you slamming that back knee to the floor. It's a little tap. Okay, now split lunge position, pulse, deadlift hinge. Woo, wobbly. Long spine here, so keep the openness across your collarbones. Pulse it, hinge. If balance is all over the place, maybe you just stick with that split lunge pulse. And rest. Okay, halfway point. You can do that once more, each leg. Right leg is going to be the focus. Shift weight into that right side. I'm going to show you from the side. Left knee lifts up. All right, open up, but that thigh bone still points forward. Pelvis squares off. Hips slide back in your hinge. Hips slide forward. Keep that going. I'll just turn to face you. Now, bigger is not necessarily better, okay? You're working within your range of motion. If you don't have a ton of external rotation, that's okay. Okay, left foot, heels lifted, plant down through your right foot. Pulse it narrow, hinge open into that sumo, pulse it wide. I'm not coming up all the way, okay? So it's a powerful pulse, but I don't totally straighten through the legs. Now, continuing what we were talking about in the previous one. If you don't have a ton of external rotation, don't step back super wide. Because if you do, your knees aren't going to be tracking in line with your toes. So you only go as open as you can, maintaining alignment through the rest of the joints. Okay, right foot is planted. Left knee down, low squat. Left knee taps, stand it up, squeeze your right butt cheek. Find your split lunge position. We pulse, we deadlift hinge. Right foot is still planted. Now, even though the right leg is the focus, I want you to think about really reaching long and active through your back left leg. That's something I kind of just realized I was not doing. Strong, solid back leg. Woo, and rest, okay? One final time, other leg. And then get fresh new exercises. All right, mirror me. Start shifting weight into your left leg. We're gonna lift that right knee up. Find a balancing position. We pivot open, close the pelvis forward, break at the hips, hinge back, and forward. Slow and controlled. All right, let's do that pivot. Keep your right heel lifted high. If you want to, though, to modify, you can plant down through the whole foot. Pulse it narrow, hinge open, pulse it sumo. We're approaching our final minute of work. Left foot's gonna stay planted for that back lunge combo. Left foot stays planted, right knee taps, come to a low squat. Tap, stand and knee drive. Whew. Starting to feel that heat. We have one exercise to go after this. Okay, find that split lunge. Pulse, hinge. And again, yes, focus is that left leg, but I want a strong, active right leg. Reach it long and back, but without sinking into your low back. So we need to engage the abdominal wall here. Ribs move in and down. Don't lock out, whoop, as I fall through that standing left knee. Almost there. Oh, and done. Okay, you have about a minute to recover while I show you our next 4 exercises. First exercise is going to be a squat with a calf raise at the bottom and the top. Second exercise, you're going to come down to the mat into a bear plank or tabletop position with your knees hovering. Opposite leg, opposite arm. And if you want to tone it down a notch, keep the hands down and you can just extend one leg at a time. Third exercise is going to be a blast off push-up. You bend the knees, hips slide back. You shoot forward into your plank. You give me 1 push-up. Now to modify, when you come forward, you can drop the knees down, give me the push-up from your knees. Final exercise, you lower all the way down to the mat into a prone position. You're going to squeeze your heels together. You're going to point the toes, straighten the legs out, keep them externally rotated, and then flex the feet, bend them, squeeze your heels together. No unilateral movement. So instead of going 4 times through, you only have to go through this circuit 3 times. Get ready to start at the top. We got that squat with those calf raises. Let's go. A little lift at the bottom, lift at the top. So ankle stability is directly related to knee and hip stability. We started that first circuit, a ton of stuff for the outer hips, okay? We're still active through the glutes here. Little lift, not rolling to the outside of the ankles, so really ground down through your big toe. Get ready to come to that bear plank. Hands to the mat, knees stacked under hips, hovering 1 inch, long neutral spine on an exhale. Opposite leg, opposite hand. Whoop, too tall, head in my couch. I want as little rocking of the hips as possible, so don't rush through this. All right, legs together. We're going to come into those blast off push-ups. Hips slide back as you bend the knees. Bring them forward. 1 push-up. As soon as the push-up starts to get sloppy, drop to your knees. Really ground down through your fingertips. Legs are really active as you do the push-up. With control, lower to the mat. Hands stacked under forehead. Heels together, knees out wide. Squeeze the heels and reach your legs so long that they lift up. Point the toes, straighten them. Flex the feet, heels in. Now, as you do this, I'm just going to lift my head up so my mic isn't muffled, but you can keep your forehead down unless you want to advance it. Then everything can lift up a little bit. Now, it's important that you're not dumping into your low back, so I need you to think of lifting the abdominals away. And rest. 30 seconds. What I was saying is you want to think of lifting the abdominal wall away from the mat. Is it actually going to come off the mat? No. It's just I don't want you pushing down into it. So almost picture your lower abdominal area. Picture it could grow wider. It's like a gentle bracing sensation. Whew. Okay. First time through, done. Just going to go through it twice more. Make your way back up to standing. All right, calf raise at the bottom of the squat and the top. When you come to the top, you're squeezing the glutes, the hips come forward. Again, ground down through all your toes. My pinky toes are pretty useless. They kind of curve in, so I'll ground down through 4 of my toes. You guys go for all 5. All right, hands to the mat. Come into your tabletop position. Opposite hand, opposite leg on an exhale. So really a total body exercise here. You should feel your quads talking to you. Core is active. And with your upper body, I want you to think of pushing the mat away so you're not sinking into your shoulder blades. All right, legs together, blast off push-ups. Ground down through your hands. Legs squeeze when you do that push-up. Oh, push-ups are so hard. Lower yourself all the way down to the mat. Knees apart, heels together, palms under your forehead. Straighten the legs, flex and squeeze the heels together. So you should really feel your glutes firing on this one. If the pointing and flexing is confusing, don't worry so much about that. Just straighten your legs to an externally rotated hover and then squeeze them in. If you want to challenge, rest. But if you want to challenge, you can lift your upper body off the mat as well. All right, last time through this one. If you're feeling good in that squat calf raise, let's add a little speed to it this time around, okay? But as soon as the ankles start rolling, slow it down again. Let's go. Hands to the mat. You're in tabletop position, knees hovering. Opposite arm, opposite leg, replace them. So your neck is long, don't let your head hang down like this. And also make sure that you're not tucking your tailbone under, okay? Reach your tailbone long. No, I don't want you to sink into the low back, but we do want to honor the natural curves of the spine and work to strengthen that neutral position. Push-ups. Okay, legs together, reach your heels back, bend the knees, hips slide back, shoot them forward. One push-up. Lower down with control, knees wide, heels together, hands stacked under your forearms, or under your forehead. Whew, squeeze the heels together, point straighten the legs. The knees are just barely hovering off the ground. If you want to challenge, let's reach our head so far that it lifts up off the mat as well. It is a long shape and a low shape, not a high shape. Really squeeze the heels in and rest. Okay, we have about 60 seconds to recover here. We're going to stay down on our mat for our final circuit. I'm going to show you our last 4 moves. First exercise, we're in a reverse tabletop position. We want to make sure that we are very open through the chest. 2 tricep dips, lift and lower the hips. Second exercise, we have a low crunch to a high crunch. Now to modify, you can just do the low crunch. Exercise 3, you come into a forearm plank position, but with your hips down and knees down to start. From here, you're going to lift the hips up, straightening out that front leg to a hover, and break at the hips, lower it down. From the kneeling position, our final exercise, we just go right into a full plank. From here, it's a top crunch and then a kick, comboing like that. To modify that one, just keep your bottom knee down. Okay, so your fingertips are gonna face forward, ground down through your hands, push the floor away, you're broad across the collarbones. Don't totally lock out your elbows though. Heels are out a little farther than your knees. From here, you're gonna lift your hips up just to a couple inch hover. It's 2 tricep dips, and then you drive the hips up, squeezing your glutes lower down to the hover. 2 little dips. Squeeze through the glutes, lower to a hover. When you do that hip lift, make sure you're not locking out through the elbows. There's a little invisible softness there, just so that the muscles stay active and we're not dumping all that pressure into the elbow joint. All right, lower down, we have that high-low crunch, arms overhead, legs extended. Bring it in, bring it long, sit it up, balance just behind those sits bones. Your gaze is at your kneecaps as you do this. Coming up next, that right forearm is going to come onto the mat. Your right knee will be down. You will mirror me. Let's go. Knee stays down. Lift up, kick that top leg up, hips lower. So I want you to focus on that bottom right side seat. Squeeze the glutes and lower. Now your shoulder is working to stabilize. Push the floor away. Stay long through the neck so you're not sinking into the shoulder socket. All right, let's come up to straight legs, or to modify, you can keep that bottom knee down. Elbow to knee, hand towards foot, but they don't have to touch. Ooh, stay strong through that bottom shoulder. We think of side planks as an exercise for our obliques, which it absolutely is, but it's that whole side body, okay? Outer hips, woo, shoulder, oh, and drop it down. Maybe take a quick side body stretch. 30 seconds to recover here. I'm gonna do that same thing on the other side. And I'm just gonna spin around so that I stay mirroring you. Plant the palms down, push the floor away, heels out a little in front of your knees. Lift the hips up to a couple inch hover. 2 tricep dips, bend and press, and then and lower. So when you lift those hips up, I don't want you to lift up and then hyperextend into the low back. You got to engage to the abdominals. My gaze is straight ahead. I'm not jamming my chin down to my chest. Okay, lower down, we got that crunch. 1 low, 1 high. Modify, just do the low. Advance, just do the high. When you straighten your legs, if you feel your low back peeling off of the floor, I want you to extend them higher, maybe a 45-degree angle. Lower is not necessarily better. All right, left forearm down, left knee stays down. Push the floor away. Lift those hips and kick. So you're sort of breaking at the hips here. There's that little bit of a hinge action, squeezing into the left side seat. But you're very active through the right leg as well. All right, let's come in to our full side plank. You got it. Crunch, kick forward. And you're kicking forward, but without tucking your tailbone under. So don't worry if the hand actually hits your foot. I have tight hammies, so mine is not gonna. Now take a second, check in on your top hip, make sure it's stacked directly over the bottom. We have the tendency to roll open. You don't want that. And done. Okay, maybe take a quick side body stretch. We're at the halfway point. We're gonna do that twice more. And then we get to cool down. Tricep dips to that reverse tabletop. Open through the chest, core engaged. Lift the hips to a hover. Give me 2 dips. Careful not to lock out through the elbows. All right, lay down. We got that crunch. Little relief for the shoulders before we go to that side plank work. If possible, I want you to keep the head, neck, and shoulders in that little bit of safe flexion so that they're not resting on the mat. Gaze is at your knees. Get ready to mirror me with that side plank. Right forearm will be down. Whew. All right, roll onto your side. Right forearm down, right knee down. Push the floor away, okay? You're really active through that shoulder and through the lats here. So building off that glute work, we did lifting into that reverse tabletop. Just isolating one side. Okay, come into your full side plank. Last time you have to do this one on this side, make sure your hips are square and stacked. It's a crunch, keep the hips lifted. It's a kick. If possible, that top leg stays hovering the whole time, but if you need to modify, you can rest it down in between reps, or you can drop your bottom knee down, okay? And do it just like this. And rest. All right, one more side. Now, I don't like ending in a unilateral move. So lucky you guys, after we do that second side plank variation in this one, you're gonna try to stay in your plank and just rotate to a center forearm plank, and we're gonna hold to finish up the workout. It'll be a quick hold, I promise, okay? So don't bail when you hear the beeps. Let's get ready for that tricep dip. 2 dips. Drive the hips up, lower them to a hover. Now I'm doing this with my toes lifted and just my heels down. If you want to do it flat foot, I'm okay with either one. Make sure you're not sinking into your shoulders on this one, so don't let them roll forward. Okay, crunch. 1 low. 1 high. Make sure you're not holding your breath. So I'm inhaling as I extend, exhaling as I crunch in. Find the breath pattern that works for you. I'm okay if you're not using that exact one. I care most that you are breathing. Left forearm, left knee, let's go. Lift and kick. Oh, sorry, I don't know why I did this workout in necklaces. Banging on my timer. Okay, come into that full side plank. You got it. Crunch, kick. Hips stay stacked. Hips stay lifted. Strong through the bottom shoulder. Push the floor away. Now, when you hear those beeps, instead of dropping down, you're going to rotate to a center forearm plank and you're just going to hold for me, okay? It'll be quick. All right, let's do it. Both feet down, rotate both forearms down. I want your forearms parallel. I want you to reach your heels long, squeeze the quads, squeeze your glutes, and just hold. Deep breaths through this. Close your eyes if you need to. You're here for 8, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. Knees down, press back, find a child's pose. Take a few deep breaths here. So I'm going to lead you guys through a quick guided cool down. If I'm going too fast, stay on any stretch that feels good for as long as you want. And I always encourage you to do additional stretching and mobility work as needed. In this child's pose, I want you to walk your hands over to the right corner of the mat, leaning into that left outer hip. And I want you to direct your breath into that left side body, kind of breathing into the space under your armpits, into the side of the rib cage. Walk your hands to center, and let's take it over to the side. Hands walk over to the left. Lean a little bit into that outer right hip. You should feel nice opening through that side body, and direct your breath there. Big inhales through the nose. Fill the rib cage. Exhale through the mouth. One more deep breath. And exhale it out. So walk through center. I want you to come up to kneeling, and let's bring your right foot forward so you're in a kneeling split lunge position. From here, I want you to square your hips, gentle squeeze of the seat, and then press your pelvis forward so you feel a nice opening through that back left hip flexor. Now let's take that left arm, sweep it up and over. Lots of side bending in this cool down since we just finished with all that unilateral work. Bringing the torso up through center. If this feels okay for your back knee, you're going to bend the knee. Whoop. Hand's going to grab the foot, and you're just going to give a gentle tug in towards your bum for a quad stretch. If this is too much, doesn't feel good on your knee, just stay in the regular split lunge with the foot on the floor. Without slingshotting, I want you to release that back foot, and I want you to kick your hips back, straightening out through your front right leg for a half split stretch. You can fold forward here. Chest leads the way. Good, and then we're just going to switch sides. So you're going to bring that right foot back. This time your left foot steps forward into that split lunge. Square your hips, gentle squeeze of the seat, and then press both halves of your pelvis forward. So you feel that nice opening across the back right hip flexor. Right arm is going to reach up and side bend over. Coming back upright. If it is safe for your knee, you're going to grab the foot in your hand without excessively arching into your low back. And you're going to give me a gentle quad stretch. If this does not feel gentle, if this is too much, you have options. You could stay in the kneeling lunge, or you could stand up and do this standing. That can feel better for the knee. With control, you're going to release that back foot. And we're going to shift our hips back, straightening out through the front leg, fold forward, fingertips content on the floor for that hamstring stretch in that half split position. When you're ready, we're going to come through tabletop, hands stacked under shoulders, knees under hips, and let's just take some big hip circles. Doesn't matter which side you start on. I want you to take 3 big circles one direction, and then you're just going to switch the direction of the circle. When you've done 3 each way, let's switch over to the other leg. Other direction. When you've done 3 both way, tuck your toes under, lift your knees, press back and up into your downward facing dog. Might feel good to pedal out the heels, or it might feel good to just hold them down in stillness. Oop, choking on my necklace. Again, why am I working out in necklaces? When you're ready, you're gonna walk your hands in towards your feet. We're gonna roll up vertebrae by vertebrae to standing, but I'm just gonna come to kneel so that I'm not out of frame. We're gonna take 2 deep breaths together. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. And exhale, let it go. Last time, inhale overhead. And exhale, release. All right, awesome job. That was your functional circuit workout class. If you liked it, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I post workouts here on YouTube for free every Monday. If you want more workouts, I also have a Patreon. There are different Patreon membership levels that will provide you with anywhere from 2 to 6 additional workout classes every month. They're released on the first of the month, and you have access to them as well as all the workouts that I've shared on Patreon in the previous months. You also get a monthly workout calendar. So if you're someone who is looking for a little bit of structure and guidance into how to fit these workouts into a weekly schedule, Patreon provides that for you. I'm so appreciative of all your support through Patreon. It allows me to continue to create these workout classes for you and keep them as accessible as possible. Okay. End sales pitch. I will see you guys next week.